Alright fuckers, welcome back to Practicing Portraits, an artwod roadmap. Who am I? I'm Viggy. What can I draw like? I can draw like this. I've been drawing for 3 years and 5 months. The only things I understand are line, form, and perspective. Fundamentals are 95% of my practice. Watch me become great with me, blah blah blah. Right, I'm speedrunning the intro. But yeah, I don't have a visual library. I don't know what the fuck any of this is. I don't know how to draw it, yet I do, because I understand form, line, and perspective. Right, so learn how to enjoy doing difficult things by grabbing your pen, grabbing your paper, and drawing along with me, right? I'm essentially doing the body doubling angle because this channel's going to shit. But I actually have something to talk about today. What a fucking shock. I say that every goddamn video. But again, I actually do have something to talk about today. And I was already going to talk about this, but now there's actually more substance to this. Because artwod. They're the only fucking reason I could draw like this. Artwod, a little bit of broken draw and a little bit of challenge 52, a thorough, but artwod. Okay, they give you the work, not the shortcut. That's their little slogan. I'm just piggybacking off of it, but I'm not affiliated. I'm just a fucking dickrat. Look, slurp that shit. You know what I'm saying? The shaft any day, all day. Some might say the tip is where the magic is, but me, I'm a man of the long road to destiny, which is the tip. But anyways, please grab your pen, grab your paper, draw along. Why pen? To build confidence. Look at my fucking extreme perfect example of confidence. Holy shit. Going over the same goddamn circle. Not even an actual ellipse or a sphere, but genuinely just circling the number. But yeah, what are we doing? We're doing the artwod portrait roadmap. Currently, I'm doing the exercise. I'm doing fucking 100 times the repetitions that they require of you, because that's what you should be doing when you're doing anything that is a skill you're building. You should always go above and beyond, right? Doing the bare minimum will get you the fucking bare minimum, which is ass, right? But anyways, what are we doing? We're looking at a portrait. We're putting a box over the portrait. We're putting a sphere inside the box. We're putting a center line inside the sphere, inside the box, horizontal and vertical. We're putting center lines, diagonal and center, or like and fucking straight or whatever, in on each plane. On each visible plane in the box, as well as an ellipse on each plane in the box, right? So basically this fuckery, that's actually what I'm attempting to visualize consistently, right? I'm building a spatial simulation in my mind in order to have a very solid foundation of which to rely on and to essentially draw shapes off of when I draw actual portraits, right? And of course, to make things more difficult, I'm also form wrapping the shapes around the sphere, right? Just to make my spatial reasoning even better, right? But if you might be wondering what the fuck is the point of all this, it sounds extremely difficult. It is difficult. B, art is a spatial reasoning skill. Okay, drawing. If you want to be good at drawing, right, which is draftsmanship, which is line, form, and perspective, and then everything on top of that, lighting, composition, values, fucking design, anything else that I can't think of right now, but it's all based. Drawing is understanding 3, and by the way, while I'm talking, I've already started drawing in my mind, right? Again, drawing is thinking, right? So what am I thinking about? What the fuck? What am I thinking about? I'm trying to visualize the box, right? And this is all based off, obviously, the perspective of the portrait that I'm looking at, right? But I'm trying to visualize the box, the sphere inside the box. And the thing is like funny because yesterday was my first day back into doing portraits after I did the whole challenge 52 break, right? Just not thinking about spatial reasoning after my intensive 6 weeks of doing really hard spatial reasoning. And actually, yesterday's session was me just remembering my my methodologies, right? The way I'm doing it. So right now I'm remembering, okay, like first, like no matter what, I'm constantly thinking about the sphere and the box inside of it, and then also zooming out, very difficult, right? Again, I'm trying to think about this. I'm trying to visualize that. So like no matter where I'm looking, quote unquote looking, i.e. visualizing, i.e. calculating in my mind, I'm calculating these center lines as well. And the other thing is the ellipse, right? But the main thing is actually the center plane of the box, vertical and horizontal center plane of the box, and calculating the ellipse of that box in and of itself, right? Like inside that, of that plane in and of itself. Like that's actually the main thing, and that's also contingent on being able to see the center line, right? And that's actually the most difficult part, and that's actually what I'm constantly trying to work towards, right? So while I'm doing this, I've already over a dozen times, I've already completely lost the perspective, right? Like I want to be very clear, over a dozen times, I've already consistently lost every part of the perspective that you could possibly imagine me losing, right? But the main thing is I'm constantly trying to rebuild it while I'm talking. I'm narrating. This is activating my parietal lobe, and I'm spatial reasoning, which is activating and engaging my prefrontal cortex, right? These two regions of my brain are at odds. They're clashing with each other. With my working memory, my WMC, working memory capacity, is already getting taxed, right? And it's extremely difficult. But that's actually what I wanted to talk about today, because somebody, Sor Chromo, a fan, I guess an old fan, new fan, yeah, an old fan, but he commented on one of my videos, the latest challenge 52 part 11, right? And again, like I just zoomed in again while I was thinking about the sphere in the box. So, and I completely lost the box again, right? So I have to take a step back. Okay, and then we rebuild it again, because holding it for a long period of time is one skill, but the actual thing that our brain excels in is reconstruction. Immediately losing it and then reconstructing again, right? In the beginning is just a line, and then it'll be a line that's a plane, and then it'll be a line that's a plane that's part of a box, and there'll be a box that has a sphere cylinder inside of it, that has an ellipse inside of it, like all that shit. Like it's constant, just you get better and better because your working memory capacity starts chunking the information. Right now, if you're just drawing planes or lines or boxes or whatever, and you're struggling with it, that means your brain is looking at each individual component of the box as its own line, right? It's looking like, okay, that's a line, that's a line, that's a line. For me, you know what it's doing right now? It's like, okay, there's a rough box, there's a rough sphere, there's a rough center line, there's a rough center plane, there's a rough center plane, there's some rough calculations. But these are like, and the thing is, obviously I'm at a level now where the box in and of itself has been chunked into one singular unit, right? Like rather than its individual components. Same with the ellipses, same with the center lines, like those are all relatively chunked together. But the individual components of what I'm trying to visualize now is like the box, the sphere, like all these different things, rather than one solidified mass that is a mental model that's been essentially fused together to be a consistent visualization, right? So that's what I'm struggling with. What about you? You are probably struggling with something similar, if not much less intensive, if not much more intensive, right? But anyways, that's the main thing, is like, and now while I put the line down, because never forget that drawing is one thing and then applying is another. And that's also extremely, you see my line went to shit because I'm trying to apply while thinking, right? While thinking, because drawing is a thinking skill. I'm going to keep saying that, right? Drawing is a thinking skill. Now I'm looking away from the portrait reference, from the box that I visualized, to look back at the portrait reference to think about how this box that I've drawn is going to be, like, what's it called? Encompassing a perfect sphere, right? Encompassing a perfect sphere. And there will be an insane amount of mistakes that will occur, right? And again, now that I've drawn this, I'm already immediately, when I look here, I'm visualizing and calculating the center line, right? But I also need to consistently take a step back and be like, okay, no, but at the end of the day, what is the main form that I need to be aware of? That's the sphere. Everything is encompassing the sphere. Everything is encompassing the sphere, right? And then obviously all the calculations that are occurring inside the sphere, right? And I have consistently not been able to calculate the center line of the sphere, right? Like this, where the fuck am I gonna draw this? This, right? Like for the horizontal, and then this for the vertical, right? I haven't been able to calculate that, because what I actually need to calculate is this center plane of the box and this center plane of the box, right? Like this center plane and this center plane, right? Like that's what I need to constantly see. And now that I mentioned it, my brain is now actively working on trying to see that as well. And now there's a part of me that it's noticing that this box is not encompassing a perfect sphere at all. My working memory is already really taxed right now. So while I continue to, I'm going to switch the topic a little bit and actually talk about something that's related, but is going to require me to actually tell a story or like some information while also spatially reasoning. I want you to understand this is a very difficult skill, okay? Talking and drawing, but also explaining what I'm drawing, but more than anything now, not explaining what I'm drawing. So my mind is not going to be reinforced by the words that I'm saying for the skill that I'm trying to do. It's going to be talking about something slightly different that is related, but not particularly me explaining what it's actually going on, while I'm also trying to visualize this entire fuckery and completely lose it. So while I'm talking, simply be aware, right? While you're practicing as well, simply be aware you will consistently lose what you're trying to visualize. And that's actually the topic of what I'm going to be talking about is, yeah, my fan for Sor Chromo. I don't know if it's a fan. I mean, like, he watches my videos, but he commented, he's pulled up on my stream, so I guess he is a fan, right? But he commented asking, he said a bunch of stuff, right? And it was kind of like just like a flow of consciousness. He was just thinking out loud, but he basically asked, is visualization really that necessary? Like, to what extent do you recommend visualizing, right? Like how much do we actually need to visualize in order to understand the topic at hand, right? And my response to that is absolutely as much as you can. All right. Now and again, like I completely zoomed in here, right? So I lost the perspective completely while I did this. And now I'm realizing that this may not actually fit a perfect sphere. Maybe it will, actually. Maybe it will. But, and while I'm drawing this, I'm also, like, while I'm drawing this line, I'm trying to zoom out, still visualize the entire sphere, but also be calculating the diagonal and the center as well for this box. And I don't even know if it's converging properly. Like, I actually don't know, right? There's a lot of mistakes that are occurring. But the reason I'm saying this is actually like based on the other thing I want to talk about today, which is that beginner artists and artists in general must encourage each other, in my opinion, right, to do difficult things. Because learning is difficult, right? But we've built, and this is just from what I've noticed based on the artwod subreddit, based on the Challenge 52 subreddit, based on the fucking, it used to be the Broken Draw subreddit, but now it's called Community, like, you know, community, but Kim Jung-gi Community. Very sweet, very nice, honorable, right? Like paying homage to the master himself, right? But what I've seen, and obviously just on YouTube in general, right? But the discourse for people getting into a skill, not for the discourse for people who are already relatively proficient, because their discourse is completely different, and their discourse is exactly what I'm telling you, which is that they enjoy learning. They enjoy doing difficult things. They enjoy putting effort in, and they have constantly learned to reaffirm to themselves to trust the process. Now look at how shit that was, because again, I was completely distracted by what I was saying, even while I was trying to visualize it. And again, this does not fit a perfect sphere. I see that now, right? Huge mistake, incredibly huge mistake, right? But like this is diverging. That's going that way, that's going that way, right? This was converging too fast. It's going this way and it's going this way. Like it's just, it looks like ass, right? But either way, we continue, right? And while I'm doing this, I'm constantly trying to visualize the sphere inside of this, even if it's an incorrect sphere, and the ellipse inside the center plane, as well as like each of these planes, right? Each of these the visible planes for the box, but also the center plane that cuts through the middle of the box horizontally and vertically as well, because that's actually the center line that follows the contour of the sphere itself, right? So lots of things to think about. And that's the thing, is like, you must understand that drawing is thinking, and I know I say this a lot, but you genuinely must internalize and understand that drawing is thinking. So Chromo, if you are wondering like to what extent you must visualize, because he mentioned that he gets stressed when he has to think about all the different things he has to visualize. Well, that is actually a positive leading indicator, right? The fact that you feel stress, that means your cortisol has been spiked. That means your brain is actively engaged in what you are trying to do. Right? The stress is enhancing. It is an indicator that you are putting in effort. Just like it right now, my brain has a decent amount of stress, has a decent amount of norepinephrine, has a decent amount of fucking dopamine, right? And whatever. There's like a bunch of other fucking molecules that are involved. But these are the molecules that induce focus, attention, and more than anything, neuroplasticity, which is when you're putting an effort to constantly tax your working memory, in this case with spatial reasoning. And you know, like this is diverging, that's like, it's all wrong. Like you can see, like I actually drew this line, center line, incorrectly as well, right? But like that is like the penultimate merit for what we're doing right now, is like every time you look anywhere, you are training yourself. And that's another thing you need to be aware of, is like the mindset to have is to just put in as much effort as you possibly can, right? So you might be facing this sort of stress as well, because there is and again, I was zooming in here while I was drawing this because it was really hard to focus on the entire picture. But for any of you who are feeling stress or discomfort, or just like stressed out, just stressed out when you are drawing or when you're trying these difficult things, it is likely, because it was for me, so I'm just going to assume here, it's likely because you're expecting yourself to be able to be more capable than you actually are. Take that in. You may, I'm going to just make an assumption, like you are likely expecting yourself to produce an output at the level of which you expect yourself to be able to produce an output at, which is the level you are not at. I want to draw this well. Reality, you draw this fucking well, right? Like huge discrepancy. Let's just say like this is like fucking 500,000 repetitions, right? Well, okay, maybe like a smaller number, because maybe that number intimidates people. 500 repetitions, 5,000 repetitions, whatever, hundreds and thousands, because that's the bare minimum gap that the like unit I'll ever use will be hundreds and thousands. But I want to draw this well, I draw this well. But you expect your input may be very high, but you expect your output to match your input. That's not how learning works. The input being consistently high is what creates over time the compounding learning effect of your output, what you're able to produce, also matching that. But by the time you get to that point, your input will be on a completely different level, like, because you'll be seeing more or trying to see more, and you'll know more and you'll understand more. Anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. There's still quite a few things I want to say about this. I feel I'm like trying to get it across, but again, at the same time, I'm trying to fucking see this fuckery in my mind. So very fun, very difficult. All right, let's rest our brains. All right, cool. So once again, like the second I look at this, I'm immediately visualizing a sphere, a perfect circle inside of it. And I know like I fucked this up because this should have been a decent amount smaller. Like this right here, I believe, I could be wrong yet again, but if I were to put a perfect, I believe it should have been a decent amount smaller. Because if I look at the reference, and I do think my angle is a bit off, right? It is relatively foreshortened, but I believe that's where it should have been cut off, right? Because then perhaps, yeah, like right there. Yeah, I think then there's much more of a perfect circle. Right now it's way too elongated. Same mistake I made yesterday, right? But that's how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. And yes, often you will, because you'll be thinking about so many things, you will struggle to not make those mistakes again, right? You will of course struggle to not make those mistakes again, but that's where you have to just constantly keep reevaluating and repositioning your mind to remember that, hey, you have to think about these things, right? Like it's genuinely just, it's a working memory deficiency. It's just a working memory deficiency. It is not a lack of ability deficiency. The lack of ability, that deficiency is characterized by the effort, right? Like it's an effort quotient. It is a repetition quotient. It is a time quotient, but it is not a lack of ability, right? Because the ability will continue to improve. It will continue to improve. No matter what the fuck you feel about it, you will get better, right? So you have to just understand that you will get better, but effort is your great equalizer. I keep saying it because it's the only fucking truth I've experienced at this point, right? So there's clearly, my word is law. Like, no, it's just, and again, while I'm drawing these like smaller features, I'm struggling dramatically to visualize everything and to like do all these calculations. But that's the thing, I'm trying to zoom out and still see the little details, right? Which is this zooming in, which is what I'm doing right now. Like I'm zooming in trying to draw this fucking line, which is obviously a pretty ass line, but I'm also trying to zoom out and at least at the bare minimum try to see the center line calculation here, right? Which I'm not really seeing that well. Like I'll be honest, I'm not seeing it at all. And now whenever I keep diverging my attention back or away from the drawing, I have to keep reconstructing, right? Because I'm still trying to get some level of accuracy when I look at the drawing. I don't know why, dude, this fucking angle is so retarded. It's actually like disgusting, but I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with this girl's nose. She must have like an extremely flat bridge or something, or like an inverted bridge, because I'm fucking brown, like I'm South Indian, so my nose is literally like this, like it's a bump and then it goes down, right? Her nose must be like fucking this or some shit. That's the only way I could think about how if the bottom of her nose is like this, that I can't see shit, right? But either way, yeah, so Chromo, I want to say that, yes, I would personally say it's not about whether you should visualize as much as you can or whether you should be visualizing in this way, right? It's about the fact that if you want to be good, if you actually want to be the draftsman and the artist and the person who can be at the skill level that you proclaim that you want to be at, right? Then you must reframe it as effort. You must. It's the non-negotiable, because you have two options, right? Which is experiencing the stress you experience now every time you try to visualize, right? And he also mentioned that he doesn't feel good when he doesn't think about drawing, because obviously, why would he feel good when he's not thinking while trying to learn something? That means he's not learning because he's not putting in effort, and then he's like, fuck, I'm not getting anything because I'm not thinking. You see, it's a negative feedback cycle. So you have two options, right? When you are trying to visualize, interpreting the stress as a negative, right? Interpreting the stress as a negative, or interpreting it as friction, which is improving your ability to consolidate this information because you are actively taxing your working memory in the direction that is beneficial towards the skill of spatial reasoning. Two options. This sucks and it feels like shit, or this, this is good for me, which it is. Objectively it is. And I hope I continue to prove that this mindset is beneficial to learning, because that's how you enjoy learning, is every mistake you make, every time you're visualizing. Right now, I have lost the perspective easily, almost like 50, 60 times. Easily. Okay? You think I see the sphere and all the fuckery right now? No, I'm barely using all my goddamn mental energy to get these proportions right, because I still do value that to a degree in terms of just getting decent proportions, right? But, and again, my lines are going to shit, right there. But I am not giving myself crap for losing the perspective. I'm actually feeling good that every time I lose the perspective, I'm making an active cognitive effort that is intensely difficult to try to see the perspective again. Did I? No, I didn't see shit while I said that because, again, the smaller details, like I'm zoomed in, right? And it's really hard to zoom out and see everything. But again, now when I look at this, I'm constantly trying to see this center line vertical. The horizontal center line I struggle with seeing quite a bit because I still haven't internalized this yet, right? Still haven't internalized this. I still haven't internalized the sphere and like this center line being part of it, but that's part of it, right? Like you constantly keep putting an effort towards that schema, towards that mental model, building it. And right now it's all individual units and it's like fucking 23 calculations that are occurring in my brain, or I'm constantly trying to project in my brain onto the page, right? And your working memory can only hold fucking like 4 to 7 things at the same time, right? So to answer your question, Sorkomo, good. The visualization is difficult, good. It causes stress, good. The only not good thing is how you're interpreting the stress. So you must constantly, every time you are actively pushing your brain and you feel that discomfort and you feel just the fact that, fuck man, this is hurting my brain, this is so intense, like I'm all thinking about all these things, you must tell yourself, and that is exactly what I should be doing. This was a good thing. Fuck, I lost the perspective again. Fuck, I can't see the line. Oh, I lost everything again, right? And once you're at the cusp of that difficulty and you push a little bit more, that's when you take a step back, and that's when you utilize the gap effect. You take a 10 to 15 second break where you think about nothing. You just take a step back, close your eyes, and you don't think about anything. This will allow your brain, this literally has your brain replay that repetition, that intense effort at 10 to 20 times the speed. Literally, you're getting a fucking like 200% boost in your learning by just taking a break, right? And that's why I constantly encourage everybody to take a break with me, right? But when you're average or below average, like me, right? And it doesn't matter if I am below average. At this point, I put in so many repetitions, I might as well be fucking below average, because anybody who puts in this much work just to get to this point has to be mediocre to some degree. And it doesn't matter if you are, again, because it just takes a shit ton of work regardless of where you start, right? What if I'm actually God tier above average? Doesn't matter, I still put in over fucking like 200,000 repetitions at this point of like everything I've been trying to do, right? I'm not beneath the work, but I do not subscribe by talent. Ascribe by talent? Subscribe by talent, I don't know. But I just don't believe in that shit because I know how much work I've put in, right? And it's intentional work. It's just intentional work. But it's like, I think, what the fuck? Why am I stuttering so much? Because I'm shit at speaking. Oh, there you go, answered my own question. But I must slow down. But I know people will probably call me talented, right? This is just me jerking myself off. But people will probably call me talented because they'll be like, oh, look, because they'll look at the end result 10, 15 years from now and be like, oh, look, of course, like, look at how good he is. But those idiots, and they will be idiots, like, objectively, they're fucking retards, right? That's how you say late in French, retard. But those retards, there you go, like, right? Like, the fucking 4chan shit. It's a fucking classic meme. It's like Rage Comics, I guess. But these idiots will mention talent no matter what, right? Like people will always find ways to not believe in you. So here I am telling you multiple ways that you can believe in yourself, right? Right now I'm struggling to see the sphere a lot and I'm barely seeing the calculations, but right now I'm just struggling to see the sphere. And that's why, like, I'm the biggest, most important thing right now is just constantly picture that perfect sphere and then encapsulate the box outside of it and then add all these little calculations inside of it. That is my methodology that I've come to after 80 hours of practice, right? That is the conclusion that I've come to. That is a process that works for me. Some of you might fucking put the box first, then the sphere inside of it, like I did initially, but it was really hard for me to conceptualize it that way. Putting the sphere first, having a perfect fucking circle, and then putting the box around it, right? Like the circle and then the box around it has helped quite a bit for me, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the fucking dimensions are still being added or built or whatever, right? But either way, I'm visualizing, I'm losing the perspective a lot, but the main thing is I'm really trying to, more than anything, constantly think about the box, the sphere, the perfect sphere, the box surrounding that perfect sphere, right? Trying to make it as accurate to the portrait in terms of the angle as possible, and then also thinking about the vertical and horizontal central plane, right? And then the center curvature around that is the ellipse inside the plane, but also the actual center curve, center contour, center line for the sphere itself, right? Because that ellipse is the fucking center for the sphere because it's curved, right? But I don't know how much of this is going over people's head, but I feel as if like explaining and conceptualizing things is easier to take in rather than doing. You might get a fucking headache trying to do this because I know it gives my girlfriend a headache. And I know when I went to the art club in my city last week, which I didn't even know they had, right? And again, I just zoomed in again, right? Like I remember when I was showing this, I was just like talking about this and showing it to them. They were just like, "What the fuck?" Right? So I know it's a bit of a Oh, wait. See, that's a wrong line. That's a completely wrong line. So I need to take a step back. I need to zoom out. I need to zoom out. And then I need to calculate the center line, right? But I need to zoom out, and then I need to do... I also got the wrong perspective, so I need to zoom out again. I need to zoom out again. See, I keep telling myself this because that's literally what you have to do. So, Chromo, the stress you're feeling is normal. Look how many fucking times I have to keep reminding myself because I keep losing it. Look how many times I have to keep taking a step back and then try to build it again, right? Reconstruct. So, to anybody who is to Sir Cormo and to anybody else who is thinking like, do I really need to visualize that much? It's not about need, right? It's, do I want to achieve the skills I want to achieve? If the answer is most likely yes, then understand that visualization is only ever going to be a benefit, right? I know he mentioned aphantasia, right? And he's like, visualization is already so difficult, and then aphantasia exists. My answer to that is aphantasia affects 1% of the population. None of us here are that fucking special that we're 1% of the population. And even so, and he even mentioned this in his comments, even so, the fucking creator of Drawbox, Irshad Karim, Uncomfortable is his alias, right? He has genuine aphantasia, and he's a fucking concept artist, for God's sake, bro. He's creating buildings and interiors of fucking spaceships and all this shit, and like intense rotors and all that stuff from his fucking mind. Why? Because spatial reasoning is actually accessible to everybody. Visualization is not accessible to those with aphantasia, right? Like, it takes a fuck ton of effort for them to maybe even get 10% of it. I still think that effort is worth it because effort is always worth it, but yeah, but even then, spatial reasoning is accessible to every fucking human being on the planet, right? So even if you are so special that you have aphantasia, right? You're the 1%. Congratulations. You can still fucking do this and more. You can still fucking do this and more because this is nothing special, right? Anyways, I need to stop bitching and start drawing. Viggy believes in you. Viggy believes in Jew. Right, I do believe in Jews. I know they existed at one point, but I feel as if they're slacking. It's on the what is it? It's the rise of the... I don't really have a race to supplement it with, but I wanted to make a joke. I wanted to make a joke. That's not even funny. Fucking Gewke. Fuck this. Fucking give up, Vagu. Give up. But anyways, yes, you can visualize. Yes, it is extremely difficult. Yes, I'm fucking dying right now, by the way. Like, my brain, my working memory capacity, while I'm talking, is just done. Just absolutely done. Because I keep trying to understand the perspective that the person's face is in as well. But let's see. Right? Oof, this was actually really hurting my brain. But more than anything, I just need to see that sphere again. We see the perfect sphere. You see the box inside of it. Right? And then we have... Wait, see, I need to bring this down because my sphere is this big, but I keep starting here. So again, I'm not zoomed out enough, but let's see. We'll do something like... And then I'm trying to visualize the center plane, but this isn't the center plane. This is just a plane that I've taken... This is the center that I've established, right? Because this is the bottom of my plane that I'm seeing, right? And holy shit. Okay, so now I need to rest my brain because I really tried to push there. And it was extremely difficult. So now, again, take a step back, rest our brains. Like, this is... And yesterday I saw this pretty clearly, but today I don't. And I never do. I want to be very clear, right? I never really see things super clearly. It's constant effort at calculating, and over time, it took me fucking 400 hours to be able to see a plane with a cylinder, with an ellipse inside of it in perspective. 400 hours to see this, by the way. I just want to be very clear. It took me 400 hours, roughly. The first 2 years, right? 400 hours to see this. To visualize this, I want to be very clear, to visualize this, right? 400 hours. 400 hours. Do this once, spend a fuck ton of energy, put all your effort for 1 hour, right? Once, to try to visualize this, and visualize this, right? Do that once. Now do it 399 more times. And that's what I went through, right? And that's what anybody can go through. And that's how I had to change my mindset from output, outcome, result-based to effort, input, and enjoying the errors-based, right? Which is literally how we learn better. Let me fucking... I'm so... I don't know why what's it called? I'm like always thrusting my hands at the camera like this. But it feels pretty good, so I'll keep doing it. Anyways, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. Okay, cool. So It's also very clear to me that I did get the perspective. It's a bit too pronounced, I think. Maybe this. Actually, no, it's because it's diverging. So this is actually relatively accurate. So I'm not visualizing this perspective correctly either. So again, I'm still trying to visualize the sphere, visualize the box, right? Okay, this is a lot better. And now I'm going to. Okay, see, like this curve is very important because this curve is the plane, right? This is the center plane that I have right here. And again, by the way, when I like fucking wiggle my goddamn pen and I'm ghosting, that's actually an obstruction to what I'm trying to see, right? Because I see it a lot clearer when I don't have my own finger or like the actual line being placed in the way. But it is in the way because of course it's in the way because that is part of me ghosting and me calculating, right? So everything that gets in the way of your visualization is an obstruction that is also taxing your working memory. Okay, it's a cognitive endurance skill. I'll keep saying that. All right, and the only way to get out of it, if you're gonna perceive it as getting out of it, but the only way to improve it, let's use a positive, actually encouraging and genuinely a beneficial word. The only way to improve it is to go even deeper, right? You must thrust. You must thrust with your mind over and over. What the fuck, dude? I can't enunciate. You must thrust with your mind over and over again. Not you must talk with your mind. But what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I give up. I'm quitting art. I'm quitting explaining art, therefore I'm quitting art, right? But see, like I'm not seeing this perspective. I keep trying to, but you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing this, right? Look at that. My brain just constantly wants to tilt the box that way when I must tilt it back this way, right? So that is a skill. And why is my brain particular to that perspective? Because that is a perspective that I practice a lot and I'm used to, and it's difficult for me to think outside of that perspective, right? And now on top of this, on top of just trying to see this fuckery that I keep mentioning, right? On top of trying to see this fuckery that I keep mentioning with the box, the sphere inside the box, the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, the crisscross and all that shit, the diagonal center lines, right? The fucking center planes, all that shit. On top of trying to visualize all of that, I now have to start ideating, decision making, which is a completely different part of the brain. And my working memory is already incredibly taxed just trying to barely figure out this fucking sphere bullshit, right? So, once again, Chromo, this is normal, okay? This is absolutely normal. And I hope you were drawing along while I'm talking all this bullshit, but this is normal. Think about it this way. If at quote unquote my level I struggle with this, why would I not be struggling with this 500 fucking hours from now, if not 1,000 hours from now, if not 2,000 hours from now? The level just gets more difficult, but the struggle stays the same. And that's the same thing I want to keep telling you. The amount of effort you put in, the extreme discomfort you face will never go away. So once again, you have two options. Learn to love learning and discomfort, or simply be in strife throughout the entire experience. Which one do you want to be in? The answer, obviously, for anybody who doesn't want to dislike learning, I assume you want to like learning, is learn to love learning. How do you do that? You focus on the effort, you focus on the errors, and you derive enjoyment from them. How do you derive enjoyment? Every time you make a mistake, what I do is I just tell myself error, or like when I just notice a mistake, I just feel good. I can just force myself to feel good. In the beginning, I had a fucking huge shit-eating grin. I was like, oh, making mistakes every time I made a mistake. Another thing is like you raise your standards. Everything that is not exactly what you expected, because this is where we can use expectations, everything that's exactly not what you expected is a mistake, right? So that is also really beneficial in the fact that you can essentially just make anything that isn't that quote unquote perfect output a mistake. And that's great because now you're like, oh shit, okay. So I can actually utilize my high standards and expectations to benefit my learning more than anything, right? But I just lost the perspective again. What is this line? This line is to inform the right side, right? This is the center line. This is the bottom plane, right? And then this is the box. I'm using this to inform the right side of the center part, right? Like, because this shape will probably be roughly this width, right? And on top of that, I'm using it to inform the contour, right? The contour, the vertical contour, right? And now I'm going to do the same thing over here somewhere. And more than anything, I'm going to try to make it even more difficult because I still have to think about the sphere, and I lost the sphere completely. I lost the box completely. So that's why I'm really trying to tax my working memory, genuinely, really. And I'm trying to think about the center line as well, like this center plane. Sorry, the center plane, right? This center plane, right? Of the center line of the box, right? It's a plane when you draw through it, right? I'm trying to think about that as much as I can, genuinely as much as I can. And now I feel as if I've gotten a relatively. And while I do this, my mind constantly is losing it, by the way. It's constantly losing it, right? While I do this, I want to be very clear. While I do this, my mind constantly is losing it. Let me say that again. While I'm drawing this, my mind is constantly losing the perspective. I've lost it all. I've completely fucking lost it. It's gone. It's goddamn gone. And that's when you take a step back. and now you try to reconstruct again, right? You try to reconstruct again, you try to see the box again, you try to see it in the angle that you should be hopefully seeing it in, right? And this is how we get better. It's a cognitive endurance. Okay, so Chromo, it's cognitive endurance. You are not broken, you are not flawed, you're just retarded. It is cognitive endurance. Okay? So again, like while I'm looking here, it's so easy to zoom in. So one thing I also have to constantly keep telling myself is to zoom out, right? To zoom out, to zoom out, to zoom out, because otherwise there is no learning happening. Or sorry, there is no it's like you don't want to zoom in. That's the biggest thing I keep reminding myself and telling myself is like, if you keep zooming in, by the way, while I'm talking, I'm trying to see the box and trying to see the fuckery, the center lines and all that shit, right? It's like, if you keep zooming in, you are losing the overall image. And while I'm talking, I'm struggling so much to see the center plane and then this center plane attached to the sphere. I'm genuinely fucking dying right now. Like, I'm struggling so much to see this. I want to be very clear, right? But this is why I must continue to persist. Because you also have to understand that this angle is very novel. It's very new to me. I haven't drawn in this angle before. Not while thinking about this, actually, right? Like not while trying to create the spatial engine in my mind, right? I haven't done that, so it's extremely difficult, right? And while I do that, like constantly anywhere I look, I need to be reaffirming the box to myself. And right now my brain just constantly keeps thinking here. So I need to keep zooming out, keep zooming out, keep zooming out, right? I'm basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to have a big picture of the sphere, the box, right? The three axes, right? Obviously like placed correctly. So they're going along the edge of the sphere as well. The sphere being consistent inside of that. And then the center planes also being consistent inside of that, right? Like that is what's going to create, for me personally, and you're gonna see like a reused design, because or like, yeah, you're gonna definitely see me reuse this same shape that I did last time, right? Like similar, because I cannot think of design. My working memory is completely overtaken by just the box in of itself, right? Like completely overtaken. So, and the sphere inside the box, and again, like this, what I'm doing here is just me trying to reaffirm the perspective to myself. Right? That's all I'm trying to do right now, is just reaffirm the perspective to myself, because I cannot do anything else, right? And, oh, okay, dude, that, like, I'm getting a headache. I'm actually, like, feeling the pressure. So again, Chromo, that is normal, okay? Like, this is completely fucking normal to feel such genuine stress and fatigue in your mind, right? But it's how we interpret it. Stress is enhancing mindset, right? Like, it's a good thing that we feel this stress. And I'm trying to zoom out. I'm literally trying to zoom out, but I can't because my mind is so focused on it, also trying to ideate what I'm going to do here. But I'm trying to zoom out and see the box. And just me doing this in of itself is helping quite a bit, right? But I'm trying to zoom out. I'm trying to also obviously see all these center lines, all these calculations. I'm trying to see all of that. I'm genuinely trying to see all of that, right? So I'm going to rest my brain now, right? And to you, it does not look like much. And this is what I want to make very clear. It's like, when you're doing foundational work, it doesn't look like anything until hundreds of hours later, it does. I.e., I'll be drawing extremely complex figures, shapes, right? Features, sorry, not figures, on top of what is going to be a Loomis portrait, a complicated Loomis portrait, simple shapes that are the features, and manipulated shapes that are the features. But this is what everything will be based off of. This engine right here, this is what everything will be based off of. It's a simulation. No wonder it's difficult. So Chromo, it's extremely difficult. And I know I'm addressing him, but I'm addressing all of you, right? It's like, think about it. It should be stressful and it should be difficult, and you, of course, should learn to enjoy it. But why would it not be difficult to visualize 3D space, right? It doesn't exist on the page. You are creating something that doesn't exist, and you're reasoning logic, right? 3D logic. You're reasoning that while you create. Fucking, of course, in every universe known to, I guess, us, or just like, I guess that me speaking that grandly said, of course, in every fucking, yeah, in every universe, in every goddamn outcome, of course, spatial reasoning for a human being is going to be extremely difficult. I have a fucking headache. I'm going to rest. I'm going to rest my brain, but I hope it gets it across. Like, yes, it is difficult, and this is how we can enjoy it by purely focusing on the effort, understanding that it's a cognitive endurance skill. Cognitive endurance, working memory capacity, limitation, current limitation, not forever limitation. Right now, my brain fucking synapses are firing, right? Like going ballistic, jerking each other off, right? Trying to figure out this problem, you know? And slowly, over hundreds of repetitions and dozens of hours, only Only through that. Nobody's beyond that. Nobody's beyond intentional effort, repetitions, and consolidating that information. None of you are above that. Not me, not Kim Jong-il, nobody, not fucking Karl Kopinski, not Robert Montel, right? Not fucking what's his name, Frank Frazetta, right? Like, not Leonardo da Vinci. Nobody is above intentional repetitions, effort, thousands of mistakes, and consolidating that over long periods of time through rest, effort, and continuous repetition, right? Nobody is above that, no matter who you are. So that should be reassuring to you. It's like, if nobody is above this effort, I'm a fucking nobody, I can do it. There's that mindset, right? I'm a fucking nobody and I'm capable of this, right? Everybody is capable of it, because every nobody is a somebody here. To me, that's everybody. How deep? Hashtag Viggy inspires. Viggy cries as himself to sleep, really. I'm gonna rest my brain. And by the way, what I talk about isn't just particular to art. It's particular to everything that's difficult, everything that's a skill that's worth learning, okay? So, like, it's not just me saying this as someone who's, obviously I'm biased, obviously I'm fucking drawing, right? Obviously I'm doing all this difficult shit, but it's not just art. It is anything and everything that is difficult and worth doing because it's difficult, right? Jesus. I almost did this in the wrong perspective again, but good thing I looked at the perspective of the portrait. See, like, I lost the perspective. Again, my mind wanted to do this, right? I was gonna draw this front line like that, but it's like this, right? So I'm glad I took the step back to notice this, right? Because that's a mistake, that's an error. And what am I doing? I'm fucking jerking off over that error, bro. Mentally, that is. I feel great. But it is very difficult. And right now, like, because I'm focused on just trying to ideate whatever this shape is going to be, I barely see the sphere, and I barely see, I definitely don't see the box as much, but that's why I'm trying to, that's another skill. It's like, you have to zoom in while doing the detail, and then zoom out while, you have to zoom in and zoom out is like basically what I'm trying to say. Is like, you literally have to do fucking two things that are complete opposites of each other, right? Zoom in to see the detail, zoom out to ensure that you still see the entire structure in perspective. What the fuck? And like, this entire fuckery here, box, sphere inside the box, center line inside the sphere inside the box, right? It's like, how? Through sheer effort, right? That's literally it. Like, how? Through sheer cognitive effort, right? And I don't even know if I did this correctly, because I feel as if perspective is wrong. Perspective definitely feels wrong, but it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to, let's see, okay, I'm just gonna do something like this. Okay, hold up, like, I need to take a step back, because I'm making a decision without even thinking. So I need to zoom out again, and I just see this entire perspective, right? We need to see it all, This is the center line, right? We need to see all of it. And let's see, I am definitely doing something wrong here, for sure, but I've committed. So I'm just going to, let's see, okay, let me like zoom out again, because I'm trying to think about the side plane, and maybe this can be a specific angle in that side plane, right? Because this is the bottom, right? This is the box, right? This is the center line, right? This is the side plane. This is the sphere, right? And then this is, yeah, again, the center line, right? Like, if anything, this is not even where the center actually is. Like, for the horizontal, I did a little bit higher. Actually, did I? Fuck, I don't know. I think it's correct, right? This is obviously not, like, this is centered, but it's not obviously, like, right in the middle, dead center, right? So let's see. And again, while I draw this, I'm constantly trying to refer back to yeah, like, while I draw this, I'm constantly trying to refer back to the spatial reasoning that I've established, right? Like, the overall box and the sphere. That's literally what I'm doing. It's like, while I'm drawing this, I'm constantly trying to refer back to the large plane that is this, right? While I draw it. And that is obviously very fucking difficult, right? Again, very difficult, very cognitively demanding skill, right? Let me just trying to ideate. I don't think any of this looks good, but that's already a mistake. and so is this. But oh, it's hurting my brain. It's really fucking hurting my brain. It's like it's genuinely hurting my brain. I keep zooming in on the bottom here, so I need to zoom out and see it. I need to see the box again. So I need to see the box. I need to see the box, right? I need to see the box. I need to see the bottom of this plane while I draw this, because this is gonna be half the ellipse, right? I need to see all of that. Jesus, bro. Like, actually so difficult. And then while I do this, I need to see this, because that's basically the bottom. Let's see. And then what do I want here? What do I want here? Oh god. I made like some intense manipulation that I couldn't account for. Right? But let's see. Maybe something like this. Right? And it cuts in like that. And then what? And then maybe... Okay, dude, I don't even want to think about that right now. Jesus Christ, that's fucking my brain. I did not mean to make such an intense manipulation, because I knew the main thing would be what I'm struggling with right now, which is primarily just the spatial reasoning, right? And then let's see, like, this is obviously something that's contoured as well. This is, yeah, like it's going along the sphere. Whew. Okay, so, oh, for a second I just saw the sphere properly. And again, like, dude, all these details are obstructions. They're completely fucking my brain right now. Oh my god, I'm struggling so much, and I can't see anything, so I need to take a step back. Okay, let's try reconstructing it again, and again, the biggest thing, again, what the fuck? The biggest thing is, like, I need to keep zooming out, right? I need to just keep zooming out and seeing the sphere, right? And again, my brain literally keeps trying to make the box like this. It's not like that, it's like this, right? But it keeps trying to make the incorrect box and encompass this incorrectly and see the center lines incorrectly. But that is where I must say nay. No, my friend, no, we will not do that. We will really try, but we will not do that, right? And I want to do something like this, maybe. And this isn't what I originally intended, but again, while I draw this, I'm literally thinking to the best of my ability of the line that it's curving around, right? That it's following. And obviously, like, I fucked it up. Yeah, I did, like, definitely fuck it up. But let's see, and then we can actually make this even more difficult for myself by doing something like, let's see, if this is the sphere, right, and then this is the center line of the sphere, I want to do something like, I want to do something like this. Let's see, something like, I want to make it wrap around. I actually want to make this even more difficult for myself, right? And I'm genuinely trying to see this fuckery while I do it, by the way. Like, I keep losing it. Obviously, I lose the diagonals quite a bit. But again, I've trained myself to see diagonals over hundreds of hours to the point where that's actually not the main focus, because I can actually calculate the diagonals pretty easily. So it's not about that. It's about the box, the sphere inside the box, and then obviously the main center lines, and like constantly wrapping that around, right? And that's the main thing I'm trying to see right now is the form. Like, I'm trying to see through the form. I'm trying to understand the form, right? Like, that's the main thing. Because, yeah, like this right here, this ellipse, right? This ellipse is part of the fucking sphere, and it's infinite, okay? Like, I need to see that at all times. And more than anything, it's also, I need to see the plane at all times, right? The infinite planes that are constantly encompassing it, right? That's fucking difficult. It's extremely difficult, to say the least, right? So I must obviously, there you go. I think that's the sphere. Didn't really do it properly, but, and then we'll bring it up like that. And then again, like, every time I make these lines, I need to refer back to my box and back to my my plane, my contours, everything, right? And do it again. And like, this needs to be wrapping around my box as well, right? So fuck me, like, dude, I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Hold up. That's my sphere, so I did get my sphere incorrect. Actually, no, this is relatively... Okay, like, I need to zoom out. I need to zoom out, and I see this properly. So that is not correct. You can see I fucked it up. You can see 100% fucked it up, right? But that's okay, because if I didn't fuck it up, then I wouldn't have an opportunity to have learned, right? So deep, oh, it's all about learning, right? But that's genuinely what it is. It's like I wouldn't have had an opportunity to learn, and yeah, like this, it's a lot more subtle up here. It's a lot more subtle, right? So I could actually, it's so much more subtle, and you're gonna see me constantly. And again, like I'm losing everything right now. I want to be very clear. Like I literally am losing everything. Okay, I'm trying to go around the contour again. But yeah, like that's fucking ass. Like I completely lost it, right? Because this is form wrapping. This isn't just anything. I need to take a step back because again, I lost everything. I couldn't see anything. I lost everything. I take a step back. Take a step back, and like this is already all incorrect. As you can see, it's super condensed. This should have been like this curve should not have been as intense. It should have been something more like this, right? Even then, that would have been pretty incorrect, but like it still would have been a lot better because you see like what's happening is I made the top like this, and then the bottom's literally like normal, right? But the top, that's actually even worse. Like I did it like this. It's like a fucking wig instead of just again trying to see the box and just make it more perfect, right? Because this is again what I'm trying to see, right? It's actually even that's more tilted. See, my even when I'm trying to give an example, my brain wants to do the wrong box. Like this is what I'm trying to see, right? Like this plane, the center plane, the box, these fuckeries, these diagonals, right? The ellipses, the ellipse, right? All that shit. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. I forgot how difficult this was, and I'm glad I consistently get reminded that this is how difficult it is. Genuinely, I'm so glad I constantly get reminded that this is how difficult it is because I would not have it any other way. I actually forgot to... I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This was so difficult. My design sense has gone all over the place because I tried making things without even realizing, but I've completely lost it. So yeah, so Chroma, look at this. Like, it's ass. I've spent 52 minutes. He's probably not even here anymore. He probably fucked off after the first 10 seconds, but look at, like, I couldn't see anything. I tried so hard and actually got nowhere. In the end, it still mattered though. Bars. Look at that twist on the usual. But like it literally still mattered because my effort mattered, right? And any dipshit who thinks that's not the case, well, just wait 10 years, wait 15 years, or just fuck off. Fuck off my channel, right? Like, your opinion is literally wrong purely because I'll never stop, right? Like, it's just objectively, I'm bound to win, i.e. get good. Okay, I've literally, like, as you can see, I've just given up. Like, I don't see anything anymore. I don't even know what I was doing. I literally don't know what I was doing. I can't see anything. I lost it all. It's gone. Right? Like, I've like, if you lose it all. Wait, no, it's when you lose it all. When you lose it all, slip and fall. I will never look away. Doobie, 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 doobie. Beware. Anyways, let's see. See, I actually don't know how to, like, reason this. Like, this is so bad. Like, it's the same shit that I did here. Holy shit, that hurt my brain. That genuinely hurt my brain. So yeah, look, bad art session. Again, yesterday, quote-unquote bad art session. Today, quote-unquote bad art session. But I know I tried like a fuck ton. Like, I know that I was genuinely just constantly pushing my abilities, right? And only through time will it get better. But, and effort, right? Same shit as always, time and effort. But yeah, I couldn't see anything. Like, think about it. You might be wondering, like, how the fuck is it the guy that drew this, right? And the guy that's drawing this, unable to do something so, like, it's called output regression. That's the other word you need to know, right? When we're actually trying our hardest is actually when our brain is struggling to perform the most because it's trying its hardest, right? Like, that's what's happening. You know, so when you are struggling the most is actually when you are actively making the most amount of progress. And look, like, even my understanding of my box that I'm trying to do, like, you see, it's not even accurate, right? Like, I've genuinely still struggle so much to encompass everything properly, right? Like this was a huge fuck up. Actually, like I probably put the box around here. Yeah, it was around here, and then I did this. Right, but see, I even like haven't visualized properly, built the ability to visualize this to be extended outward, right? And then it's like, okay, now the side plane is encompassed. Okay, now it's encompassed like so, right? And I will just constantly have to keep trying to figure out. Anyways, I'm just fucking drawing lines now. As that guy once said, as the one commenter said, bro, you're just pasting symbols on a circle. Just study the anatomy, bro. The thing that's much more difficult, full of manipulated shapes in which you have to understand organic form, as well as structure, as well as proportion, as well as things being interlinked, as well as motion, as well as gesture. Just study the anatomy. Super simple. Don't do the basics. Study the anatomy. These are just symbols, right? Dipshit, but I'm not butthurt. Anyways, no, I guess I'm not butthurt. It just upsets me when beginners don't throw their ego away. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But yeah, like anyways, trying to visualize that was a mind fuck. It's unfortunate that it's been 55 minutes. I guess this is my practice for today. Like I actually just lost it all at the end. I had pure output regression. Like I just couldn't see, I couldn't think, I couldn't focus. My brain was just fried. My brain was just fried. I'm actually gonna rest my brain right now, and then I guess I'll spend the rest of this quote unquote episode or practice or session. I mean, it's not a quote unquote for practice or session, but yeah, quote unquote episode. What the fuck? Talking about just a little bit more of the thing I wanted to mention that I mentioned earlier, but I completely lost track because I always lose track. But yeah, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. Okay, and I guess just so I still continue to train my brain while I talk, I'm actually just gonna visualize this entire fuckery again right here while I talk. So if my speech is stilted, know that to make up for the time which I didn't get to actually apply, I'm like in which I didn't get to like fully utilize the 1 hour for spatial reasoning. I'm gonna now use this remaining 4 or 5 minutes as a means to still practice my spatial reasoning. And of course, while I'm talking about something relatively unrelated, right? For what I'm doing, it's also very difficult. So again, multiple skills at once. Still gonna let's tax our working memory, right? But what I was trying to say is the fact that artists. I want beginner artists. I want this community, but more than anything, what I would encourage anybody listening who is a beginner artist or intermediate is to encourage and support their fellow artists who is also a beginner or starting to do hard things. Oh, by the way, I lost the box and sphere again, right? I'm visualizing, I'm thinking, because drawing is thinking, right? But I would encourage you to encourage them, odd sentence, but I would implore you, I guess, to encourage them to do hard things. Where's this coming from? Because I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier, but I'll tell you right now, I have no idea what the fuck I say half the time when I'm talking while I'm drawing, right? Because like it's sheer effort, sheer explanation, sheer random tangents, and then always going back to the fucking spatial reasoning, right? But, and I'm only saying this because because I didn't even mention like the different discords, but yeah, on the artwod discord, right, and on like other discords, people are always saying like, hey, should I do X amount of work? Like even people who are like, should I do this a lot more? Somebody will always say no, just to do the next thing. Just you don't have to do that much. And I'm so tired of constantly, especially in the artwod subreddit, right? It's just constantly being like, hey, hundreds of repetitions. Hey, hundreds of intentional repetitions. Hey, you can enjoy hundreds of intentional repetitions. Hey, it's the mindset around learning. Hey, it takes a lot of effort. Hey, it's very difficult. I'm so fucking tired of saying all of that, but at the same time, I'm not, because obviously I'm fucking saying it now and I'm passionate about it, right? But, I lost the perspective again. And I keep like zooming in and out, and my focus keeps going up here for some reason, even though that's not where the sphere is at all. But again, I'm restructuring. I'm trying to build a sphere again, right? Just so you know that I am actually drawing right now. It's just not happening, but like this is what is happening is the skill I was doing here anyways, right? But freaking, I'm just super tired of people not encouraging people to do the work. Like it's fucking stupid. I don't get it. Like, dude, if you go to, again, I always use the martial arts example, right? And I guess it's a pretty pertinent or just salient or decent example. It's just a pretty decent example. Like you go to a fucking boxing gym, right? And like I know I've used it in a different context before, but let's say you go to a boxing gym and you've been there for like 2 years, right? 3 years. I'll just use my example. But like let's just say, and some of you might actually be martial artists, but so this might even hit harder, right? Or anything, like somebody comes to the workplace, right? And somebody just comes to a place where they're there to learn and they're trying to get better. And you've been there for a while. Right, so for the example of the boxing gym, you've been there for 3 years. You're working on your footwork, you're working on your punches, you're working on clenching your core, using your hips for driving the power, right? Making sure your feet are grounded, right? Like all this shit. You're doing all of this stuff, right? And a newcomer comes in, and you notice that you overhear a conversation between a newcomer and somebody else who's been there for like half a year to a year, or maybe even like a year and a half, right? Like also they're kind of new as well. And the newcomer is like, hey, the coach said I should practice my punches and I should focus on my footwork and keeping this thing in mind and like making sure my shoulders are this way. And he recommended that I do that for about 20 to 30 minutes a day and try to get at least like 50 reps in a day, right? Like, what do you think? You know, like I think it's like not bad, you know, like I kind of get it. Like, and that somebody who, like the other coworker or the other person at the gym, basically who's been there just for like half a year to a year longer, it's like no, like just do whatever you want. Just go ahead and only do as much as you want to until you kind of feel like you got it, and then move on to the next thing, right? Because that person, from my opinion, like the person who says that is just projecting their own lack of work ethic and effort onto the person who actually possibly wants to have that work ethic, right? Like that's what I see. I see someone who is discouraging somebody else from working hard because they want others. It's a crabs in a fucking bucket mentality, I swear. And I may be right, I may be unright or wrong. What the fuck, unright? But I may be right, I may be wrong, or maybe there's like a half truth, half fucking complete fabrication of my own assumptions being thrown into it. But the point I'm making is, please, to all artists, not just beginner artists, but yeah, all artists, but especially beginner artists or slightly less beginner artists, stop fucking telling your fellow artists to not do the work or to do less work than than what they're already asking if they should do that work. You should be saying, yes, it's very difficult. Have fun doing the difficult thing. Remember to make lots of mistakes. Remember to fucking really try hard. Remember, art is a very difficult skill, right? It's all about how hard you work your brain. Make sure to rest afterwards. Why aren't you saying any of this shit? I know why, because I'm spazzing my fucking hands at the goddamn page. Oh no, because none of you have learned how to learn. Vast majority of you have not learned how to learn. Those of you who have are 10 times better than me. Simple as that, right? Those who have learned how to learn, right, are just 100 times better than me, because they've put in more work than me. They're ahead of me in their journey. They've understood how to learn, and I don't need to have this conversation with them. So as much as I would like to say all artists, I'm clearly just addressing a very, and by the way, I lost the perspective like fucking 50 times during that spiel, but I kept trying to bring it back. I kept trying to reconstruct it, which is the point, right? Look at that. I talked, I blattered, I blubbered for an hour, 6 minutes, and I got my point across. But if there's anything I could say, fucking hell, if you're learning art, A, internalize that it's work. B, internalize that you can enjoy the work. C, internalize that enjoying the work is really your only fucking option. So focus on the effort, focus on the errors, and derive enjoyment from it. And understand that it's a cognitive endurance quotient, right? What you have in deficit is effort, repetitions. What else? Effort, repetitions, and energy. Yeah, well, which is basically effort. Yeah, but it's a repetition deficit. Oh, it's a knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. What you have in like what you have as a gap, right? What you have in a deficit from the gap, like the gap you're trying to fucking, you'll never close it, by the way. I want to be very clear. I'm never closing the gap that I have, because my eye will simply get better and my standards will get higher and I'll see more, right? But what it always will be is a gap in knowledge, repetitions, and effort, right? Therefore, time is on your side because it's a time matter. The more time you put attempting to truly, to the best of your ability, close the effort, right? Or close the gap through effort, repetitions, and knowledge, the better you will be becoming. It's an endurance skill, and your brain will consistently consolidate and chunk the information that you're trying to learn. Granted, you are actually trying to consistently learn something difficult. And again, I'm a big proponent of spatial reasoning. I don't know how to fucking draw a person. I don't know how to draw that, I guess, reactor thing I built. I don't know how to draw a car. It's actually very clear. I don't know how to draw a car. I don't know how to draw any of this shit. I don't know how to draw a machine thing with a gun, blah, 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 right? I don't have a visual library. Yet why does this look relatively believable? Do I understand composition? No. Design? No. I barely understand perspective. Like, my scale is completely off. This should be larger, most definitely, right? If I'm trying to show scale and something's in the foreground, right? So really, I really only understand line and form to a degree, right? But because I understand it to a degree where even if I don't understand anything else and have zero visual library, I'm able to create something like this, is through sheer trial and error of the things that matter, right? So yeah, and by the way, like, I lost the perspective here multiple times. So now I know, like, I have this other problem, which I've constantly had, but I need to focus on it, and I will continue to focus on it moving forward, is just while I'm talking and while I'm drawing and thinking, right? Especially because I'm talking and drawing. Let's not forget that, right? I'm doing all this while I'm fucking talking. Very fast and unnecessarily stuttery, obviously, because I'm a fucking... need to work on my communication skills. I'm trying, but passion gets in the way of articulation, clearly. But one thing I clearly do is like my eyes, I need to keep my eyes here, and they constantly like dart over like to random places while I'm talking. So I need to focus on the skill of while speaking, while using my parietal lobe to explain the spatial reasoning, the prefrontal cortex happenings that is occurring, right? I need to constantly be readjusting and refocusing while also zooming out and seeing the box, the box, what the fuck, the box, I'm a man, the box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, and more specifically the center planes inside the box, which is also has which has an ellipse inside of it, which is the center lines of the sphere, right? You just saw me feel up my page a bunch of times, but I saw more than that. I saw much more than that. But with that being said, right? So Chromo, hopefully that answers your question, which is you're fucking capable. Put in the effort, enjoy the effort, and the effort is the only thing that matters. Beautiful. Bars. But anyways, and that applies to everybody else as well. And with that being said, dude, like, this is the thing, right? Because I'm also, just another thing, I can very easily come out of the session being like, fuck, I did shit, I was ass, I tried so hard, I lost everything, did I even try? Did I even see anything? But if the answer to that is, bro, I was trying so hard and like I just couldn't see anything. If the answer to whatever you ask yourself after a session is, did I try? And the answer is always, and you keep telling your reality, the reality that you lived in your practice session is, yeah, but I couldn't see it. Yeah, but it was difficult. Yeah, but I kept losing it. Jesus Christ, I keep stuttering. Then yes, you did try. And that's like the thing that I need to always reinforce to myself as well. Is like, clearly I'm consistently trying. Right? Like, that's the thing. I'm constantly losing it and trying to reconstruct, trying to hold it, trying to calculate. Then if you are constantly trying that, then your brain will do the rest. So once again, after the session, you rest your brain. Minimum 10 to 15 minutes, absolute minimum. No stimulation. Go lie down on your fucking bed, go lie down, go for a walk, but you will not stimulate yourself with any content, any noise, anything, okay? Because imagine it like this. Let me give you a fucking, what's it called? A metaphor? An analogy. Yeah, sure. Analogy, not metaphor. Jesus, right? The work you're doing right now is you writing a document, right? And you're making a lot of mistakes. There's a fucking lots of like misspellings and all that shit, right? Maybe, and this probably isn't the best analogy, but the work you're doing right now is you writing the document or you playing the video game or whatever the fuck. And you resting for minimum 10 to 15 minutes after this and not stimulating yourself with anything at all is you saving the game. It's you saving the document, and it's actually even more powerful because it's you saving the game and your stats get slightly buffed. It's you saving the document and all the fucking like grammatical errors and sentence structure issues are revised and improved by like X percentage, by like 5-10%. Okay, that's what's happening. That's how your brain operates. Like, this is the working part and the mistakes part, and then the rest afterwards is the saving, consolidating, and error correction and consolidation part. So go rest your brain, you piece of shit. With that being said, as always, fuck you for watching, keep drawing, and please, give me money.